8 people are dead and 10 were injured in the border town of Brownsville, Texas, after a driver ran over a group of pedestrians on Sunday. According to police, the incident occurred around 8:30 a.m. at a bus stop across the street from a homeless and migrant shelter named Ozanam Center. An investigator with the Brownsville Police Department told reporters that 7 people that were hit were dead on the spot, and 1 person was killed later. The driver of the vehicle was identified on Monday as 34-year-old George Alvarez. So let's get into the details about this guy in his rap sheet. So now, I'm sorry, we'll get to his rap sheet later. This is the charges. Brownsville Police Chief Felix Cesada said that Alvarez has been arraigned on 8 counts of manslaughter and 10 counts of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, and is currently being held on bail of $3.6 million. Alvarez was also said to have not been cooperative with law enforcement, giving them several different names. And also, there is the possibility that this attack was intentional. So, I say attack. I think it's an attack. I think it was intentional. But police are saying, oh, no, we don't know that. Now, the victims were mostly Venezuelan migrants, men who had recently arrived. One, named Julius Herrera, said he and his friends were sitting on the curb waiting to go to the airport when the car came barreling into the group. Eder Hernandez said he and others detained the driver as he tried to flee the scene. Oh, I'm sorry. Let's go back to Herrera here. We were going to the airport and it happened unexpectedly because a woman in a car passed by us and advised us to separate. And moments later, the killer was coming in the car, gesturing and insulting us. Eder Hernandez said he and others detained the drivers who tried to flee the scene. Another man told the Times that the driver was shouting anti-immigrant insults at the group as he tried to get away. Wow. Okay, so now law enforcement says, oh, we're still doing the investigation. We're waiting to get the toxicology back. And they declined to confirm whether or not he had uttered anti-immigrant comments during his arrest, which again contradicts witness statements. But again, based on what the victims told the police, can't really rule out a hate crime. Now, we don't know the details. I don't know if there was a political motive. I don't know. I don't know if there were drugs or alcohol involved. I just don't know the details. But the way I see it is, this is a guy who ran a stoplight into a bunch of immigrants in front of a migrant shelter, and then allegedly yelled anti-immigrant comments. I don't know, man. If it walks like a duck, it quacks like a duck. It's probably a duck. A duck with apparently a history of violence. Alvarez has passed charges of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, assault against an elderly disabled person, 4 counts of assault causing bodily injury to a family member, and at least 11 other charges. Even now, funny enough, it's mentioned that Alvarez had pleaded guilty to a charge of assault on a public servant in 2006 for allegedly hitting a detention officer. However, those charges were dropped because it turns out he didn't do it. So, look, regardless, it seems like this guy had a lot of issues with law enforcement and a lot of issues with getting himself into trouble. And so I don't know if there's a history of mental illness. Again, I don't have those details right now. There's still stuff that is coming out. But regardless of that, he killed 8 people. He's clearly a danger and will likely receive at least a lengthy prison sentence. Well, then again, considering how it's Texas, he's probably going to be getting the death penalty. And I'm against the death penalty. Y'all know that. I'm on the record. But I'm just saying that since it is Texas, it's very likely what's going to happen. But I'm more curious about whether or not he really did target these people on purpose. If that's the case, then yes, it would be an obvious hate crime. If not, it all ends up being like the fact that he would, like that he was drunk or something and that ran a stoplight and couldn't control his car. that's another thing. Either way, whatever happened, this guy's not going to be roaming free for quite some time. And overall, at the end of the day, that's a good thing.